Hi, my name's Yunji, and I'm from China. I'm a journalism major.
Hello everyone, my name is Junho and I'm from South Korea. I'm a freshman. I'm studying film.
Hi guys, my name is Leah. I'm from Korea, so my Korean name is Hyunseo. I'm currently doing a podium TA up here, and I'm a junior majoring in accounting.
So I want to have a conversation with the three of you about a very different issue. And the issue is a really low population rate, a falling population rate that is very troubling and very disturbing for people in different countries, including China. Can you explain the one-child policy?
In 1960s, that every family can only have one child, and I guess it's last for 50 years.
Yeah, it's
And
about almost 40 years, yeah.
almost 40 years.
I think so, yeah.
And in 2016, I guess,
Yeah.
and they just came up with the two children policy.
Yeah.
Each family can have two children, and in the coming 2021, they came out with the three children policy.
So the issue is that the birth rate in China was growing so fast that China was very clearly going to be too overpopulated, like we see with India, right? And the Chinese government said, listen, we have to cut the birth rate down, and so we're going to allow people to have one child, except in rural areas. Some people could have two children, right?
Yeah.
If you had a girl for your first child, do you remember that?
I guess it's like some of the minorities, they are
Yeah.
allowed to have two children, but most of the
Like if you were Han
ethnicities,
Chinese.
Yeah, they're only allowed to have one child, no matter it's girls or boys.
And so one of the things, because of the way Chinese families are, that it's the boy that looks after the parents. The girl gets married off with somebody else, like many, many cultures in the world. So many Chinese parents wanted boys
Yeah, definitely.
and didn't want girls, which is why when you meet people here these days, people who are adopted from China, it's rare to encounter a boy, a male. Like I rarely have a male student who's adopted from China, but I have lots of women students, right? So the replacement of a population requires that every woman born in that particular population group has 2.1 children. That's the only way you replace a population, meaning that if you want to keep the population steady, not have it decline, not have it grow, you just want to replace it, every woman of childbearing age has to have 2.1 children. So that means if one woman doesn't have 2.1 children, a couple children, that means that some other woman has to have 4. But on average, it has to work out to be 2.1. The current birth rate in Korea is 0.81, and in China, 0.28, like well below, look at Japan, and even Germany and the US, right? And so it's well below reproduction rates. So the way the US population is going to grow is from immigration. The way the German population is going to grow is from immigration. Japan, China, and Korea. Well, China, it's going to continue to grow because of the large number of people in China, but pretty quickly it's going to fall off. So here's my question to you all. When you think about having children, what do you consider? What are you thinking about?
What kind of life I can provide for them? Like, there's a lot of stress, pressures from the society, and I need to give my child the best as I can, like from kindergarten to, the best education and best quality of her or his life. So, yeah, I think that is most of the thing I need to think.
Are you planning to, do you want children?
Actually, no. Like from now, like in my 20s, and I'm not in a close relationship, so yeah, not
So you're not
thinking about
at this point in time, you're not planning to have children.
Yeah.
So what do you think? What are some of the factors? What are some of the things that you think about when? So like what you just said about taking care of your children and doing everything you need to do, and like why would you at this stage come down on the side of like I'm feeling like I don't really want to have kids.
I think one part is about the society. Like, in China, I feel like most of parents educated their children as long as they were born. Like they would choose the best for their children. So it's like it wastes a lot of money actually.
So it costs a lot of money to have a child.
Yeah, and also finding the good education for them. And for the other parts, I guess it feels it really hurts for the mother. Like many mother got depression after they have child, and it really hurts their body if they are not really be taken care of. And yeah, kind of situation last time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Junho, how about you? Do you want to have kids?
Of course. Yes.
Well, you say of course, but in Korea, the of course is not the answer that
Yeah,
most
I know.
Koreans would give.
I know, but like from my perspective, like having a kid, the start of my life, like studying, getting a job, and earning money is like preparation stage to begin my like actual life. So that's why I say, of course, for me having a child. But like I like prioritize a well-being of my kids, future kids. Like for example, like provide their education or money to get a stable job or like be stable with their future family, like to maintain the to fulfill their role as a parents or as a human.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, that's a priority for me. Like,
So many Koreans, hang on, let me ask Leah, how about you? Are you about having children? Are you planning to have kids?
Yeah, I do, but maybe just one.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to like having a kid, I believe I will need to be just financially stable. Also, I will need to consider my marriage, how stable it is.
Yeah.
Because I know I was pretty privileged, and I know how my parents dedicated to my life.
Yeah.
I feel a lot of pressure and responsibility of having a child and let them feel the joy of the environment, just the earth in general.
So one of the things that I hear from people in China and people in Korea is and you said it, right? The pressures of having a child. Can you just really quickly just walk us through, like, what's your day? Like your average school day? Yeah. Like it starts at what time? Like,
mostly, I was in international school, but that's why I don't know about like public school in Korea. But as long as I know, like public school mostly start at like 8:20
yeah.
when you're
And
in
you go.
elementary school.
Yeah.
And when you go up to middle school, high school, you like shift to like 8 or like 7:50.
Okay, and then you get out of school, and then you go where? To the cram schools.
Academy or like private lessons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes until
Like 10.
10 p.m.
Yeah.
So you get out of school, right? And then you go, when you're done in the afternoon with school, then you got to go to the private academies or the cram schools. And that could go till like 10 p.m. It's same with you?
Yeah, similarly. I'm going to the public high school in China, but it's like a international program. So we have the traditional Chinese classes in the morning, and we have like English writing, English grammar, English listening, talking, speaking, like in the afternoon. So probably our class begin at 7:30, I guess, at that time.
And then you're ending at like 10 p.m.
It's normally ended at 4,
Uh-huh.
I guess, but we still have the extra time for teacher who want to taught you more.
Okay, got it. But you're not going to the private cram schools like in Korea?
Yeah, but
academies?
we went to the cram school like in summer.
Yeah,
Summer-
I got.
Yeah.
But you guys are doing this all year round. So and the reason I'm bringing this up is because when you talk about the pressures of having children and the pressures of doing all the things you need to do to really successfully raise a child, there are a lot more pressures. Like when you think about having to deal with all the education pressures and making sure your child is fully educated. So could you, maybe the two of you in particular talk about that, say in Korea? Like how, man, I know so many, like the parents that are so stressed out because it's not easy to educate a human being in Korea. So here, if I think about having children, okay, I want to have kids. My wife and I have a couple kids, right? We deal with the child up to the age of 5, and then they go to school. And they go to the school down around the block, and we pay our taxes, and that's it, and that's what's expected of us. So that's just like, okay, here we go. Our child goes to school, and then the child's going to graduate from that school, and they're going to go to college, and they're probably going to go to Penn State because, we work here, so we get a tuition break, and so it's great. They're going to go to Penn State. But that's not life in Korea, and it's not life in for many, many people in China. It's like you're working to get your child to the best school, and then they got to go to all the cram schools and the academies afterwards. So you're looking at you're going to start at like 7 in the morning, really, and you're going to go to about 10 o'clock at night. And even when you get home, did you even study when you got home? After you got home from cram school, did you also study?
I did because I was an academic student.
Wait, so hang on. So you get home at like 10 p.m., and then you're in your room studying still?
Yeah. At least in high school, I did.
Yeah? And you the same thing?
Similar to me.
Yeah?
We have the study room in our dorm in high school. It's always closed at 12:30. So which means you can learn there like until 12:30.
Till 12:30 at night?
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
wake up at 6 in the morning?
Wake up at 6:50.
And you start all over again?
Yeah.
But what I'm hearing from you all is like, this is a major, major endeavor to have kids. It's like, shit, it's costly. It's like you're thinking at every single level about the work that you're going to put in. So like, can you say something about that? Like work as a mom, like when does the nurturing happen? And when is it just work as a parent that you just got to do all these things to bring money into the household to afford all the things you need to afford and just make sure that your child does everything your child has to do?
Just depends on what my parents say. They told me after they got me, their just word have changed. And they just found a lot of joys nurturing and just raising me as a kid. Because I resemble a lot about my parents, and they just love just seeing me growing that way. That just kind of gives them the vibes of their childhoods, and they also get a lot of joy just raising them with their grandparents or so. So that's just gonna be a really fun journey that is a privilege.
But lots of Koreans aren't saying that, right?
Because there are a lot of responsibilities and pressures under it. Then under the name of the parents, they have a lot of responsibilities and a lot of contributions and devotions.
And there's a lot of competition to really do the things like what you're saying, and you would say for your children. It's like you don't just send your child off to the local school. It is just an endless game or move. It's like playing a chess game. That's just so incredibly stressful.
Besides just financial stuffs, just get into a really good schools or like even like getting into good cram schools, it is limited and it has to be really competitive. So parents need to get information about which cram schools or like which schools gonna fit for their kids. And they have to be informative. And just to be informative, they have to talk a lot with the parents around them and they have to socialize with them. Or so even when after like the kids got into the school, if they become a class president, I think like most of the parents also like feel their duties and responsibilities of doing something for the classmates because their kid is the class president.
Got you. Were you class president?
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. So that's even more work for your parents. So here's the Korean population. 3.3% are not Koreans. So you got a whole country here that is operating on this idea of education and having to really provide for children. And it's very stressful. It sounds just incredibly stressful for me. So it's not, when I think about me, the decision that I made to not have children was a little bit complicated because I'm like, well, it's not that much work to have a child. But if I were in Korea, I'd be thinking, like, damn, this is so much work to have kids. Like, I definitely don't want to have kids. So when I think about that, the numbers of the birth rate in Korea, I just think about it from my lens, and it kind of makes sense at some level, that the people would be really reluctant. Is China offering any special benefits to parents to have kids, because China is now trying to get people to have more kids?
Actually, I don't know a lot, but I guess yes. I guess they have for I don't know. I feel like if they have one more kids.
But are you getting the message that, like, hey, you're supposed to now have more kids? Like, the Chinese government is saying, like, hey, listen, man, when you go back to China, have children. Do you get that message?
Yeah. Actually, my parents expect that for me.
They expect that for you?
Yeah, I remember that when one time my mother told me, like, she's so, I don't know, it felt so weird. Like, she told me that, in your age, like, if you're in the rural area, you are already a mother. But we support you to have more education.
But you're the exact person in China who's not going to have kids. You're going to be highly educated. You've lived abroad. You're much more likely to go back and not have kids. People like you.
I feel like I just don't want to have a kids by myself.
Yeah, for sure. To get married and have a child.
I feel like I want to adopt someone. Like there are so many kids abandoned by their parents.
Yeah.
So if I want to have a child, maybe I will choose this way.
And you're an only child, right?
Yeah, I'm the only child in my family.
And you're a girl, so that's like a much bigger thing for your parents. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Hey, what is the Korean government offering people to have more kids? Because I know the Korean government is like really pushing people to start. First off, when parents have more than 2 children, there's a name that you all use for them, like.
I think you mean 다둥이.
What's that?
다둥이.
Yeah. What's it mean?
다둥이 자녀 means you have like children more than the number of 3.
Yeah.
I think it have changed to like 2. I'm not sure, but that was 3 in the past.
But you have a special elevated status.
Incentives, maybe like possible discounts.
Yeah.
You get specific cards
Yeah.
from the government.
Yeah.
that you can
Right now,
use.
they're just raising the amount of money that you make as a parent for the first year anyway to like $750 a month just to have a child. Imagine that. Like, you have a child. This is what the Korean government is doing because they need people to have children. Because let me show you this. Actually, it was just kind of interesting. Can you go to the next slide? Like, this is the age-sex ratio. So it's men on the left, women on the right, okay, everywhere. And men, women, women. This is 1960. So see, there's very few old people above the age of 80 and lots of young people below the age of 10. And then look at 90. It's the young people start to decline, old people grow. Look at 2010, old people grow, young people decline. And then look here, in 2030, you've got all these old people and you don't have anyone to take care of them. So, like, when I go to Korea, for example, I like stay at this hotel. It's a place. It's a retirement hotel, and like, you have so many old people in Korea, but you don't have anybody who's young to take care of them. This is a major national crisis. Like, so for the Korean government, this is a national crisis. Like, no one knows what to do and how to stop this. Like, you either got to bring people in foreigners in, you got to like use AI or some kind of innovation or robotics or whatever. You got to convince people to have more kids. But it's difficult to convince people to have more kids when it's so hard. There's so much pressure to do certain things.
One fun fact is like in the 1960s, the Korean government even encouraged people to have just one kid
Yeah.
because they just had so many kids. They kind of like encouraged it through spreading slogans,
Yeah.
get one kid only and raise them really well.
Yeah.
But then now we just face the opposite situation.
Yeah.
And the government is just kind of like encouraging people to have more kids because everyone want to get just one kid or none.
Yeah. Maybe they'll start to make defective birth control or something. Bro.
I think like people tend to like not have children is because like after war, like North and South,
Yeah.
like people in Korea, like South Korea, they prioritize the education. So as more education is exposed to like women as well, like they're more educated, so they learn about the family planning, contraception,
Yeah.
and then like that increase, like that. I think that they encourage people to not have a baby.
Yeah, so it's like the three people who were up here earlier, more highly educated. The more highly educated you are, the less number of children you have, right? Korea, and this is not China, because China is just such too large of a country for this, but Korea is one of, if not the most highly educated country in the world. And so when you have such high levels of education, you're much less likely to have children, because like, why would you? You have all these other things that are happening in your life, like, especially now in this world, right? There's so many interesting things. So like, what's the point of having kids? I mean, other than the possibility of, nurturing and so on. But when you see this, it's really tremendous. Anyway, listen, the bottom line here for me is that this is the future shakeup of the world, that some countries are going to decline in numbers and lots of different reasons, and other countries are going to grow. And there's just endless movement around, how this operates. And it's the world in 30 or 40 years is going to look really different from today. And it's, to me, as a sociologist who studies this stuff, it's really fascinating. And white people, by the way, those of us who are white, our numbers are just shrinking and will continue to shrink in regards to the world's population, which is getting browner and blacker. And that's just kind of the nature of how things are.